All right. It's been a minute since we've recorded any episodes for this, but we're going to try to get back on the ball. Lots of stuff going on in life, and that'll take us away from the pod for a bit, but we're still not going to neglect it. So I wanted to kick off the episode by obviously disappointing Alec and letting him know that I have still not finished Andor.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, what episode are you on at least?
I have 2 episodes left.
Oh, well, you're doing fine then.
Okay.
It's only came out like was it a week ago now that finale came out?
Just about. I saw people raving about it, and I was like, oh, no. I was like, this isn't good. I'm behind.
My girlfriend was so surprised when I'm like, this is like the best Star Wars we've got. She looked at me like I was blasphemous. She was like, what about The Mandalorian? And I was like, The Mandalorian is good. And I will give the season 1 of Mandalorian of just like revitalizing like the interest in Star Wars as like a worldwide phenomenon. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Andor.
I feel like...
Oh, go ahead.
So I feel like I'm on the same page with you. I feel as though Mandalorian definitely was like
credit where it's due, and it's good.
Yeah.
The first couple seasons they have so far are really good, and I can't wait for the third.
Yeah, and I'm just as excited too. I mean, genuinely, and also let us not forget that Boba Fett was essentially a Mandalorian episode here and there. So I genuinely feel like
the Mandalorian episode of Boba Fett was my favorite Boba Fett episode.
There we go.
And the dude wasn't even in the episode, I think. I don't even think he was there.
And the episode, like, the thing about Mandalorian is it was like, hey, if you think this is great, just wait. It was one of those things. It got our attention, Mandalorian. So it already had me excited for all the other stuff that they were going to introduce. And then, I remember you saying like it was like beautiful. The visuals were beautiful. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, man, I didn't think that it could be as gorgeous as it was. Like it's just out of this world. I think it's spectacular. All the scenery, everything that was done too is just like, I couldn't have asked for anything better. And then the storyline too. I was like, okay, I am locked in on this.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like Andor personally just has a distinct advantage versus like anything, because Mandalorian season 1 is like the next is like what I'd put Andor tied with, just because like Mandalorian season 1 was just kind of like that episodic adventure of like going to different places, going to new situations. I mean, like the heist episode, like I loved, and all that was super, super cool. And they had a lot of good different things. But I mean, Andor, give him like 12 episodes. He has like multiple, like, I remember describing it this way. It's like it has multiple like 3-episode arcs. Like the first 3 episodes have the arc, and I'm not going to go into spoiling it because it's kind of new, and it's actually like the lowest watched thing for Star Wars, I believe.
Really?
I don't know if that's true, but like they're not really promoting it, and I know they just tried to do they combined the first 2 episodes and put it on Hulu.
Yes, yep.
And started running it on live TV for a little bit because they want more people to watch it.
It looked like it got people talking too, because I saw like on Facebook, I have a friend who like mentioned it and said, hey, if you don't have Disney Plus and you haven't seen Andor, I think they even aired it on the, oh God, what's that? It's not the Family Channel, right? What's it called?
ABC. That's what I was saying. Like live TV. Because like I think Disney owns ABC because it's through Hulu and stuff like that.
Yep.
So they loaded it through there, and I'm like, you should. It's amazing. I'm glad it's already greenlit for another second season. It deserves it, and I really hope they take this idea, because like I don't mind having short 6-episode little episodic adventures, but to take the whole 12 episodes and really weave a story through the whole thing. And I don't think this is a spoil, because I said this to Charles and he kind of agreed with me when he watched more, and he didn't think it was that big of a spoiler. it is a story about Andor, but the more episodes you go on, you get more characters that go into the story, and it really starts to kind of weave the storytelling of basically like also like kind of like the rebellion and how it's like startup, but like not only are you getting Andor's story, and you just have the episode and like the space, and just not really the space, but like there's the time to really tell all those stories where nothing feels really that rushed. You get good performances out of a lot of the actors because a lot of actors have a chance to shine. You get a lot of, you get a lot, and it's like it's just they just pack so much into it, and none of it really felt that rushed. It really felt like they really had a good handle on what they wanted for this season.
Yeah. Yeah. I know did we not briefly speak about our coworker Travis and his disdain for Star Wars?
I'm sure we've talked about Travis because I remember him making the joke that he wants a nickel every time we mention his name. But
yeah,
watching
he gets paid
Andor,
for this podcast.
Yeah, he gets paid. We don't get paid. He gets paid though.
No, yeah, he's the only paid one from this podcast.
Not really that into Star Wars, but while watching Andor, I got recommended clips of Rogue One to me through YouTube. And I was like, this is some really cool clips. It's just, and I was like, with Andor, it's like, it's not only is it, and I find it so funny to say, not only is it a good Star Wars show, it's just a good TV show.
It really is. Yeah.
I feel like Andor does a good job of, you could drop in, not know a lot about Star Wars, and you won't get a lot of the deep references, but everything for the show that you need to know is there. Like you just drop into Andor, and I told Travis, and I was like, hey, I know you're not a Star Wars fan. Just watch Rogue One. And I said, I genuinely believe it's a movie you're going to enjoy as a movie. You know, well, you won't think of a Star Wars movie. He came back the next day and said, you know what? I think I'm actually going to start watching the Star Wars series. And then I think he got the episode. He watched Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. He said Attack of the Clones was very dry. And I was like, there's a lot of politics in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I was like, you're going to like the third one, though. Third one's pretty action-packed. I said it starts off with a big, space shot flight, and then like you're going to end with a big finale. So I said, you're going to like it. And then I don't think the last time I talked to him, he hadn't finished 3.
Oh, man.
He was like, I liked the beginning, though. It was really fun. I was like, yeah, right? That's where the fun begins.
I'm curious if he's made any progress. We'll have to follow up with him. Like,
the Travis check-in.
Yeah.
We just have to get an audio recap of him recapping each movie. And
you know what? I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to get like an audio clip of him talking about it, and we'll have to pull it into the pod. But
it's just him just talking about it from memory. Unfiltered opinions. Yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah.
And also he has not seen, if he hasn't watched the end of 3, 1 and 2 have been like a week and a half in his mind, and I just want to see what's there.
Right?
Oh, that'd be great. We should do this. Do this second. We'll start out with an episode each episode. Like, this is what Travis thought of the first Phantom Menace.
Instead of calling it his 2 cents, since he wants to get paid 5 cents for every time he's brought up on here, we'll call it Travis's 5 cents.
Yes.
It'll just be his rundown of everything he's feeling about what he's watching.
Yeah, whether he likes it or not, that he's talking about Star Wars on this podcast.
I was floored when Travis was like, yeah, I started watching it. I was like, oh, Alex gonna be so proud, man. I was like, I can't wait.
I remember you smiled so much, but you know what was funny is like I came into the office and you were smiling because I was in late that day. Not only were you smiling, but he was smiling too because he knew, like, he was all like, hey, I got something I got to tell you. I liked Rogue One. And I'm like, right? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, we'll have to see if he'd be willing to do like a check-in.
Are you kidding me? Just put the phone down next to him with a record app and just let him rant. You know he'll love to do it.
I mean, he does love to rant. That's his like thing. I don't know. I mean, for the record of the pod, Travis, we are proud of you. You're growing into such a nerd.
Travis, proud of you.
Proud of you. Look, So
Still
like,
incredibly spacious though.
yeah, he's got a long way to come.
I feel weird saying that because I don't know if we ever describe space because we taken a hiatus. So
Yeah,
spacious is just that we realize he doesn't like a lot of space movies.
yeah.
He didn't like Aliens. He didn't like I was whatever the ones we were listing off. We just lifted off a bunch of space movies, and he was just kind of spacist.
Yeah, he
You know,
was.
he didn't like the classics, Alien, Jason in Space, like one of the best space movies ever fucking made.
The
Star
ultimate
Wars.
space movie.
I know we went through a bunch of other ones because we looked them up and I looked up space movies because I thought it was a joke at that point, and we just started listing them off. It's like, no, I didn't like it, didn't like it, didn't like it, didn't like it. Or he just hadn't seen it because he didn't have any interest in it. I'm like, oh, you just don't like space movies. You're just a spacist.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that our crew basically had coined the term spacism.
Yeah. Dude, spacist.
There's a lot going on in tech world right now. I think the hottest news, right?
Just gonna jump into it.
We got to. Hottest news right now is that Twitter has been purchased.
Let's be honest. It was the hottest news last week, and for some reason,
Yes.
it's still trolling up in the news polls every once in a while.
Absolutely. I mean, it has to, because we're basically witnessing a monumental moment. We're watching Twitter tank. In my opinion, I don't foresee it having any good success from here.
It could be turned around, I think. I mean, you might lose a lot of, like, I know they're losing a lot of investors, and they're losing a lot of, like, not investors, but like people who are putting ads into it, which I mean, we'll get to, because I don't know if you've heard who pulled ads recently.
I know there's a lot of people that have pulled out recently just because of accounts being re-enabled and so on. But
well, not even accounts being re-enabled. A lot of the ad people that left were due to the fact of the whole blue check fiasco.
Oh,
which, if you don't mind, I've got a few. I pulled up a few of the favorites.
This is amazing because I did a TikTok about this.
What did you?
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I'm genuinely excited to get to the check fiasco. So I'm with you on this. I know you have a timeline scenario of what went down. So I'm going to
rough timeline.
Yeah, I'm going to hand the mic over to you because I want you to walk us through a little bit of it, and then we can kind of break down into the nitty-gritty stuff.
So I know, like, we've had, like, the around, like, I don't know if it was before or after. Like I said, it's a loose timeline. I haven't fully gotten times and dates, but I know around the blue check fiasco, they basically I feel like one of the funniest things is I think Elon Musk, like, coming into it was, like, kind of upset with Twitter sometimes for doing, like, fast and loose updates, and was kind of like, I think at one point was stating, if when I get, like, in charge, we're gonna not have none of these fast loose updates. We're gonna really think about this, which is so funny for him to post or to put the blue check thing out where you could just pay for a fucking verification mark, because he fucking definitely tries to, like, play as like a troll, like, on Twitter, like, just trolling around. So how did you not fucking see this from, like, in fucking Ohio with, like, flat fucking land in front of you from, like, just 120 miles out? It's just flat. You see it. It's right there. How'd you not see it coming? How'd you not see this shit coming?
It was so clear that there was going to be a thing, you know. And I don't know if you've seen this picture, but the first picture released of Elon walking into Twitter headquarters, he's carrying a freaking sink.
Yeah, just walking into Twitter's headquarters. Let that sink in.
Yeah,
and I was like, fuck.
I mean, then there's, like, massive cuts to the workforce, which
they cut,
you know,
like. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
But oh, got it.
They literally fired, whatever. They fired a handful of people, including all the people in the higher ups, And it feels like they're just kind of like, the way it seemed like they were firing, they just were saying like, oh, at cause. So it feels like the way that like a lot of people were explaining is it looks like a lot of people have like decent grounds for just to like to shoot a lawsuit his way because he tried to fire them without giving them, you know, some of their benefits that they should get when they leave. I think severance. And then at that point, after he's fired a bunch of people who a lot of people who work there probably look up to, and we're like, you know, like, oh, they're doing good stuff. I want to be these people. He then apparently sends like a Google poll and says, ask them, I think, if they want to stay for what he was calling Twitter 2.0 and where he's taking it in the future. And it basically just said a yes or no. And if it's no, then they would be fired and given their severance package. And Twitter just lost like fucking half of its employees at that point. People just straight up said, fuck no.
Yeah, then I know he did another thing where he asked, after the workforce was cut, he handed employees a worksheet, or not a worksheet, a notice. And it basically, it was like a pledge that you had to sign saying that you were going to work 110% harder than you were already working. So if you're already working at 110%, he wants 220% put into your work.
He's famously for thinking that like he's a really anti work from home. He doesn't believe, he thinks he should be putting the time in the office. And I know there's some satellite people from Twitter.
Yeah.
And I know that like kind of is a different thing, working remote like that way versus like being in town and then like, or working at home. But he's like really that anti work from home. If you can come into the office, he believes that he puts all the time he puts into his fucking businesses or whatever that you should. And like, no offense, but unless it's a fucking co-op and everyone's running that fucking business as their own, then I see no reason that you should be sitting there expecting your fucking employees to work goddamn, like what does he want, like crazy fucking hours a week?
Yeah, he had
like,
people sleeping in the office.
Yeah, and you know what, he's gone on record saying that like in China there are some fucking workforces where people will sleep on the factory floor because their shift, like it doesn't make sense to like go home and shit like that. And he says, I praise that dedication. That's what he would like.
If
that's fucking wild.
If he's such a pro office guy, right? How come you never see his ass glued to a chair in an office? I don't want to hear any of this stuff about any of these arguments about, well, I've got to go out and sell the companies. I have to be the face of the company. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you believe in being in the office, set the example. Don't be going out there rolling around. You know, like
that's homeboy dude's got like fucking how many businesses now?
What?
You know what I mean? Tesla, SpaceX. Tesla. Well, he's got the fucking. He's trying to build a fucking Hyperloop, or not build a Hyperloop. It honestly feels like he's not trying to build a Hyperloop at this point.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a thing that's happening anymore.
They made one. It's dumb as fuck. It's made already. It's called a fucking train.
Well, right.
A train doesn't produce rubber from the fucking tires, doesn't have to fucking work on like the 20 cars that are doing fucking loops. You just created a fucking, like you just created traffic underground.
Right.
That's all you fucking did. It's just,
no, it's
not even high speed. It's a 1-lane traffic fucking highway where if one shit gets stuck up, they're all going to get stuck. You're going to have to replace all the tires. Just build a fucking train.
Isn't he doing that with magnets or something? I thought he was using...
It was just with Teslas.
He was
doing a fucking hyper... Yeah, I don't know if he changed his plan, but when he did originally, and they showcased it in LA...
Yeah.
It was just Teslas driving underground. Like the tunnel program.
That's bizarre. I thought I saw stuff on Hyperloop where it was like... it was a tube... It was like a tube, and then inside that, you go inside the tube, but it's propelled with like magnets or something. I thought, or something, and it just like boom launches you. You know?
Okay, so I'm looking at it now, and I'm getting fucking flummoxed up with his little tunnel project versus the Hyperloop.
Okay.
Although the Hyperloop does just look like a fucking train.
I have no idea what his tunnel or project is.
It was literally just a tunnel with Teslas in it to get you from point A to point B. But like, yeah, but you could just build a train.
The Tesla tunnel.
The Tesla tunnel.
Ridiculous. That doesn't.
I don't know. Does it looks like is it supposed to be set record? Hyperloop set a record of 288 miles per hour. All right.
Here's an idea. Instead of going this avenue, why don't we just invest in a high-speed rail system in the country?
Like a bullet train?
You know, like, yeah, I mean, you look at all these other countries out there who like rely on high-speed train for transport, and like, it's solid. It looks great, you know?
It's not even high-speed trains. I don't think you would need high-speed trains. You just need trains that keep to a good schedule. There's just
Fair
you
enough.
need public transportation that just works to a T. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just fucking Europe countries that like will have bus routes, train routes, trolley routes, whatever the fuck they have, and it just like it's unstoppable because their entire city and everything is built around it.
Yeah.
But we're so car centric.
Definitely car culture. Is that what it's called?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm kind of floored that there's not as much support for a rail system, like a solid rail system, you know, even bringing in high speed transport, things like that.
There is some argument saying like, oh, America, I've seen people say like, America's too small for a bullet train. I'm like, really?
Bro.
Too small?
I'd be all about it.
It would be so cool. Like, I would rather travel by train because it's just train is just such a novelty at this point. Because I've driven by a train to go to New York, coming from Connecticut, and I had someone drop me off at the train station. Me and my girlfriend went to New York, and then in Cape Cod, like they do like the scenic train route through the cranberry fields and all that. And like a train is so fun. I wish that I had a train commute to work or a bus commute to work because, like, it's just you just sit down, you just don't do anything, and you just chill.
It's funny. Kim had just had our first, and she was supposed to go visit her family in Ohio, and I could not go because normally we'll just drive it, you know. But I could not go because I had a job that was very strict and very taxing on me. And also it did not provide me with a good paid time off. It was trash. Yeah. I was working in Hartford at the time, and I was like, well, why don't we try to send you by train? Because our biggest concern was that aircraft was going to be too expensive at that point. So we were like, okay, let's try train. And so we did that. I think she took 2 different trips by train. Did you take 2 trips by train? You took 2, right? 2 different occasions you went to Ohio by train.
Once when I was pregnant.
And then for your grandfather's.
And then with the baby.
Yeah.
My grandfather's funeral.
So yeah, there were two instances where she took a train, and she would tell me like it sounded just so cool because we would have every time she had a stop, we would have a phone conversation, and she would be like, "Oh man," she's like, "There's a ton of buffaloes when we were driving through one area," and I was like, "Dang, man,
scenic route."
Yeah, it's super cool, you know, but. And that's always had me intrigued because you can like rent rooms on these trains.
And like there's like sleeping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just if there was a more sustainable, because like it feels like I've priced out trips and stuff like that before, and like if you have a train to get there, it's kind of nowadays it goes up to the same price.
I would love to. Maybe we'll do a random podcast episode from a train. That'd be hilarious.
That'd be funny. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Right? The train episode. Jeez. Yeah. And the funny thing is I remember when I was younger, my dad would have to go to a lot of different conferences, and we had to take train. My parents did not want to take aircraft. I also think that we had no choice at that point as well. But I remember taking a train, and it was just like, I loved it. You know, you had there was like a food car. We had a room, and the room was super neat because like it wasn't what you expected, but you know, yeah, you could sleep. You know, it was just a very soothing experience. Yeah, it's so weird. Like I'll never understand why people aren't into the idea of building on the train system in the U.S. But anyway, I digress.
So I looked it up because we were talking about trains.
Oh, go
and
for
I wanted to know the difference between the fucking like a beat bullet train or the Hyperloop.
Yeah.
So the Hyperloop seems to be completely enclosed, and there's the absence of air where it gets an extra like couple, not maybe like couple, like 20, 30, 40 miles per hour better.
Yeah.
But it's saying it's such an experimental stage. Each loop capsule can carry 15 to 30 passengers.
Can I just tell you that even hearing that you're just in an enclosed capsule shooting down a tube?
It's not rails. It's apparently like
it's a tube,
all
yeah.
around you. It's a tube. So you have to build a lot more infrastructure versus just putting the rails down. And obviously, all the trains need special types of rails. But bulk trains can go on normal rails at reduced speeds.
Right.
But guess how much a fucking bullet train carries?
How much?
Saying 16 cars can carry about 1,300 people. That's about 81 people per car.
That ain't bad, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Take the tried and true. Just take the bullet train. We got to sit around here waiting for the musketeer to freaking make some goddamn super hyper close loops that he hasn't been doing for years or whatever. Fuck.
The idea of being put in a capsule too, not being able to like see out or around you, that freaks me.
There'd probably
out,
be glass
man.
or something. There'd probably be glass. I'm sure it'd be made out of glass.
Yeah, but you're just going to see
appealing.
the tunnel you're like blowing through, you know? You're not going to see any sights. Because isn't this thing supposed to be built underground?
I don't know. Depends on what they're looking for. It could be either or. As long as the tube's airtight, I guess it should be fine.
Freaks me out, man.
That's what it's saying, the absence of air. But while looking that up, I did see an extra plus that we just weren't thinking.
What's that?
In Japan, if you take a bullet train, it doesn't matter if you book your ticket 3 months in advance or 30 minutes beforehand. Unlike airfare, the price doesn't rise up in tickets.
Would you look at that?
I don't know. I don't think that's for America because I'm pretty sure Amtrak probably pulls some dumb shit.
I don't know.
I believe it. Come on. I
don't know, man. I think Kim's tickets, if I recall, they were pretty consistent in price. Do you recall when we got your tickets to take the train? Were they essentially the same price?
Yeah, I don't think they were that expensive.
Yeah, they weren't that pricey.
What I paid to fly to Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they're actually consistent here as well. I could be wrong.
Maybe give me a location.
But I remember, like, when we booked her, because she went from Springfield to Toledo, and I thought the cost was basically the same both times we sent her, and those were like they were years apart. Yeah, less than $100.
How much? Okay.
No, I'm looking it up now. Yeah, they don't fluctuate like airline tickets. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't see anything because it was just the article was talking about bullet trains, and obviously those are in Japan.
Right.
Well, the ones they were talking about were in Japan, but no, I just looked it up. Amtrak apparently does not fluctuate in the price unlike airline tickets. Once you determine the date you like to travel, you can buy those tickets with confidence. As time goes on, the price of the tickets will go up, so the cheapest way to buy your tickets, they do go up with time.
It's a sooner rather than later situation.
Yeah, so it is not exactly like it, but
I don't know. It's definitely I apologize. I'm just getting over
How
an
dare you?
illness. But yeah, it always seems so cool. Like the idea of, using a train and, I mean, God forbid too, it would probably get people walking and biking again around the country. If you took a train, like if I took a train out of a stop in, I don't know, in Manchester, and then took that train out to Enfield, bike or walk from the station to work.
That'd be great. That'd be so cool.
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
$47 one way for just coach.
Yeah, Kim says 47 one way for coach.
And then
$47
Yeah.
for where?
I think she did from Springfield to Toledo. Yeah.
Toledo, Ohio.
$47. Yep.
47.
And if you think about that too, like the cost to go out there when you're driving a vehicle, you think about gas, probably a couple $100.
Yeah.
So, I mean, train ends up being the most cost-effective mode of transport.
I just looked up Hartford to Toledo flights, and the first thing that comes up is one of those cheap flights. And the cheap flight, they give you the price of the flight before they say cheap flight. Guess what the price they're giving me is?
What?
$6,774.
Fuck
Expedia.
that.
What the fuck does cheap mean in your book?
Ah, man. Expedia, you have one catchy commercial and you get cocky and upcharge the shit out of tickets.
Is this in USD? What the fuck is this? It's January 1st, but still.
Kim's manipulating numbers right now to try to find out.
That's a one-way trip too.
That was a one-way trip?
Through Hopscotch Air, whatever the fuck that means. If I want to go from If I want to go from February 18th and come back on February 18th, why would I want to do that? Fine, here's a decent one. December 15th to January 11th would be a 13,000 round trip. What the fuck is Hopscotch Air?
Kim's got for a round trip the cheapest tickets, right?
Yeah.
$141.
Dude, what the fuck are they trying to like? This is what they're recommending. What is Hopscotch Air?
I've never even heard of Hopscotch Air. That concerns me.
Okay, I'm looking it up now. It seems like a luxury plane service.
Yeah,
I prefer. It depends. Trains take
What?
longer, but they're more scenic.
well, so we're talking too though about the fact that
What fucking luxury service is flying me to fucking Toledo, Ohio?
probably a tiny plane owned by like a family. Yeah,
Tiny plane, and I can go to fucking
Forget
Martha's
that.
Vineyard for $2,400.
that's a big pass for me, buddy.
Yeah, but
Big pass.
I'd rather go to Martha's Vineyard than fucking Toledo, Ohio.
That's true.
Yeah, why the fuck I'm looking it up. I don't know why. I'm looking up flights right now, and I went to Kayak, and apparently I go to Toledo, Ohio, through Frontier Legion Air, and then Legion Air to Spirit Airlines. It's 10,000. Why are they trying to sell me this? I don't know why. Like I'm.
You got
only
me,
getting-
man. Here, let's try to book a trip. I want to go from.
Is there no? What's the airport in Ohio? Is just like Toledo just not a?
Yeah, it ain't like that out there, man.
We're going down a rabbit hole. All right, let's fucking cut the Toledo, Ohio talk. I guess maybe Toledo's like a private airport. Maybe it's not a public one. Maybe that's the airport that I was looking at. Who knows? Because that some crazy prices.
So look, business, right? Business is where you get the room, I'm assuming.
I would hope so.
So there's two trips, but all right. So I did Springfield to Lynchburg, Virginia. All right, that's a pretty hefty train ride, right?
Yeah.
It's a 12-hour ride, 12-hour and 45 minutes in two segments. So that means you're going to stop, transfer to another train, I believe, and then finish it off. Okay. Take a guess at how much that round trip cost for coach. And that is for a family of my size. So that's 6 people.
6 people?
Yeah.
Fuck, 6. Maybe $400-$500. Fuck,
So
that's too low.
yeah, that is low.
6.
That's still pretty low.
Stop it. 7.
So it's actually $1,022.
$1,022.
That's for Coach, and that is for
Gee.
a family of 6. And then if you did business class, so I'm assuming that's where you get the room and stuff, it's $1,226. So think about it. You've got 6 people going somewhere. That's probably not near as bad as the cost of that for flight.
Yeah. Still, holy shit.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like train system, I'm pro train system. Build it up.
Pro train. I don't care who knows.
That's right. Build it up. Make it amazing. The guy's got so much stuff going on. The last thing he needed to do, though, was pick up Twitter. Just like already a dying social media platform. Like,
Yeah.
and then he just had to go and buy it. That shows that you have more money than you know what to do with at that point.
More money to buy yourself another fucking expensive ass headache.
Yeah. At this point, it's out of control. But Twitter introduced a thing called Twitter Blue. And Twitter Blue never gave you a check mark. Essentially, the idea behind Twitter Blue was it basically gave you a little extra features, you know?
No, it gave you a blue check mark.
No, it did not.
It did, Chief. That's
prior to him.
So when he took power and he into the blue whatever, that's why a lot of these, I'll link you these images. These images come with, they all have check marks on them, and that's why it was really dangerous, because when you can create your Twitter account and you have your @handle, which is kind of a lot, which is like is kind of transparent versus like a lot lower than whatever, but your name can be anything. So here's one that like, so it's a picture that they took Nestle's fucking logo and they put Nestle and they have their blue check mark, but their @ is Nestle Death Cult. And they tweeted out, "We'll steal your water and sell it back to you." Lol.
Oh yeah.
But you just see like your eye focuses on the darker like text. So like the little opaque like @ sign you don't really see. You just see Nestle blue check mark, and then you read the tweet because it's like just the way your kind of mind tricks to it. So it's like it's just a lot of people were reading these things, and it's just kind of funny. And some people took them at face value. I mean, we've got other great brand ones like the Chiquita banana. Yeah. We just overthrew the government of Brazil, and then a different fake verified Chiquita account said, "We apologize to those who have been served misleading messages from a fake Chiquita account. We haven't overthrown their government since 1954 when they actually overthrew their government through that whole means." And I'm like, it's 2 verified different accounts named Chiquita.
I think the blue check for Twitter Blue was introduced by Elon when he bought it. Yeah. Because prior to his purchase, there was Twitter Blue available, but Twitter Blue only allowed you essentially to edit your tweets.
Yeah, you can edit tweets. You're higher in the search functions. Yep. You get 50% less ads, and it still kind of has that. I don't know what was before, but I know he was like the one like, "Oh, you can buy a check mark."
Yes.
They've walked it back now. I think they're bringing back the other verification process where like everyone will get different color check marks if you're a political figure.
He recently announced something about multiple different color checks.
Yeah. So it should be different based on what you're verified for. Like if you're a verified political person, you get this, or like a senator or something like that.
yeah.
If you're like a celebrity or something like that, or just an influencer and stuff, you'll get like a certain check mark. And if you're like, I forget what the other examples were, or like your business or a corporation, you'll get a different color check.
Yeah. Twitter 2.0. I can't get over the Twitter 2.0 thing.
It's Twitter 2.0. There was one where it was Pepsi. It was a fake Pepsi one, and it just said Coke is better.
Yep. I had this whole chaos. There was also a night where they did a trend. It was trending rip Twitter, right?
Oh yeah.
And this followed the blue check mark fiasco, but it had me. I was rolling at all the memes that dropped as a result of it. But I happened to pop onto Twitter, and they had, rip Twitter, Elon, Tumblr, Mastodon, MySpace. All these were what were trending that night.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to. So I click on rip Twitter, and there were some gems as well. There was like ex-Twitter employees pitching to investors next week, and it's a dude with a pitch sign next to him, and it says literally just Twitter without Elon. Which I thought that was well executed. There was another one where it had like a stick figure Elon poking a bird, and it said rip Twitter. It says, come on, make money. I'll try to, I don't know if you'll be able to see. But my all-time favorite was a clip from The Office. And it just says, me entering Instagram later tonight when Twitter dies. How's my favorite app doing? And it's just, I mean.
Yeah, the Ryan, yeah.
Priceless Ryan.
Doing?
Yeah, you gotta love it. So, but yeah, it was, like all the stuff that's been happening, it's just made Twitter a joke to me, but I've also seen like a mass amount of creators who I followed, and I genuinely enjoyed the content that they were putting out. They've left Twitter.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people who leave Twitter.
And there's like so many different platforms out there, and I've explored some of them. I just don't understand the logic or the reason behind why they've done it. So they're offering Discord as an option, which fine. Yeah, Discord could be an option, but
basically.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to leave Twitter, exactly.
Like,
that's what
Discord
I'm saying. You got to have the feel.
Discord is like, it's just such a different thing. It's more of like chat rooms.
Yes.
That you're making versus Twitter. I mean, Twitter is just a different breed of animal. It's like to post something and replying to it. It's not really like a live thing where it's like Discord.
Yeah.
If you have an active server and you're not there, then you're not catching up on what the fuck happened. You're not coming back to like 1,000 unread messages and be like, time to read through the backlog.
Yep. And then there were some others, right? So there's one called Tribal, which it feels reminiscent of Twitter. It's got a Twittery vibe to it. The number one I think that people are flocking to is Mastodon, which I hate that. I went and explored Mastodon. Every time I deleted it because I was like, bro, you have to have a server. It's like your own instance of Twitter, and it just feels bulky. It doesn't have the same feel.
A lot of people have been going to Mastodon, and I've heard a lot of people say a lot of good things about it, but I've heard people critique it, and there's just a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Like apparently, like if you can friend someone and they can just look at everything you've ever fucking said to everybody.
Yeah.
Like there's just. It's just it's more decentralized, I guess, is like one of the peak like draws to it, but it's also like it's just there seems to be a whole lot of issues, and that's the problem. When you have something like Twitter, it's been more or less refined for years. It's been looked over by so many people. To find something that's going to be a backup for it is going to be hard because not a lot of them have that exposure and polish that they have on these bigger sites.
There is one that I was introduced to by a content creator who I found this content creator on Twitter, or no, on TikTok. I found him, but he was also on Twitter, and his Twitter is how I found out about this app. So he happened to post about an app called Hive.
Truth Social. Oh, what?
No, God. Don't do that.
Sorry.
So there's an app called Hive, and it's very interesting. I think like for sure my fellow millennials out there would be like all about it, because it's Twitter, and yes, they have to do work on the app. Okay, I get it. Somebody else can go out on that app, and if you had a NHL account on there, right? Somebody else could claim NHL. They have to fix that. Yeah, but they'll get there. They're still trying to get the draw first. They need the influx of users. They need the money.
Hive?
It's called Hive, yeah. And there's no web instance of it either right now.
Only on the phone?
Yeah. So right now I think it's beta for Android. It's available for Apple. The cell, though, that I was going for, right? My fellow millennials out there, you remember this beautiful,
how's it going, my fellow kids?
Yeah, you remember
about a rad new social media site?
You remember social media at its perfection as a millennial because you had MySpace. Hive has that vibe. You can add a profile song and stuff like that, like you used to, and but it's also at the same time got that Twitter feel. So I went and I recreated like exactly how my Twitter looks over there on that platform, and then I added like a profile song, and I was just like, this is super dope. I dig what they're going for. And I felt like that's the winner out of it. But first of all, Hive is so shadow banned on Twitter, you cannot tag them to recommend the app to anybody. If you go to try to tag at the Hive social on Twitter, it will not show up for you. You have to memorize their handle and put it on there, and then it'll tag it. But you won't have a selection like if you tagged Nestle or Apple, or you know what I mean? So they're heavily shadow banned on Twitter. For some reason, Twitter does not want you knowing about Hive because it genuinely does pose a threat to them. I think it's right there. It's a damn good competitor, in my opinion. For if you're gonna leave, if you're gonna leave the Bluebird, that's a very interesting thing that I had discovered. There's another one, and I guess you have to like be added to the wait list to find out about this thing. I bookmarked this exactly for this episode.
I wonder if we're going to see a resurgence of like certain things. Because like, you know what I mean? Like we're sitting here with Twitter and people are trying to leave it. And you see
Facebook's dying.
You mean, I mean Meta as a company is kind of tanking it.
Right.
Because they're like just bleeding money.
It's called Post News. I'm sorry. That was the other app that I bookmarked.
Post News. Yeah. Fucking Meta's bleeding money to recreate VR chat.
Yeah. Yep.
Zuck, it's already fucking made, Chief. It's already made.
I wouldn't be sad to see Twitter. I wouldn't be sad to see Meta go. I wouldn't be sad to see it. I mean, I like Instagram for the most part, but Facebook can go. It's done. And it kind of makes me feel bummed that Facebook got so hyped and then like put MySpace essentially out on the streets, you know, because when you think about it, MySpace was maybe the perfect setup. You had a page, you had your friends, you could put music on that thing. If you were a band or if you were a product, you had all the utilities right there for you. We know our boy is out there living his best life. So
Yeah, they think I'd just sell it for a shit ton of money and just kind of did.
my understanding, I think Justin Timberlake owns stock in it or owns part of it, but
Should just bring it back.
that's what I'm saying, man. Bring back OG MySpace. Bring it back. Yeah, he sold it, and last I knew, he was traveling the world doing photography.
Yeah, go
Just
for
like-
you, man. You made
Yeah,
made his million or a couple millions, probably made a ton of money. Live your
yeah. Now
life.
you can just kick back and take it easy and live a stress-free life.
I never did the MySpace game, but it sounded very cool in a concept of the way everyone describes it.
It really was a blast, man. And then it got you like, you know, it's funny because you had to like mess with HTML.
It got you
You could-
thinking.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, how can I customize my page to look like amazing, you know? And there were people out there that were trying to make their pages like picture perfect, and it was cool. And you had different options. I think you had like a journal area. So if you were like blogging, that type of deal, you had like a section for that. You could highlight some of your friends on it. You could add music to your profile. You know, people could come and leave you comments and send you private messages. And then there was a bulletin board system where you could like post on the bulletin board side of it, basically. So like you could throw an ad out there, I'm using air quotes on that, because you could essentially say, hey, or like if you, like in my case, I used it for promoting shows, and I'd be like, oh, we have a show coming up. Bam, here's the flyer. Put that out there, and everybody that I was tied to, as far as my friends, they would see that, and you know, they could grab that flyer, and they could be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna go check out Nate's show, and yeah, man, those were the days. This is my "those were the days" moment.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Back in the day, MySpace. Okay, Grandpa. Okay.
But we continue to watch, obviously, the ever living meme that is Twitter.
Yeah, and I'd be hard pressed if not getting, because I know we were talking about some of the verified tweets. I got two more that I want to send your way.
Go for it.
You know who Ben Shapiro is?
Of course I do.
There was a guy who did a fake Ben Shapiro account and fake verified. And so he just posted at like 11 o'clock at night. Said, "Who up sucking and fucking a dude right now? I am." And he's got like just a little smug smiling Ben Shapiro.
Oh my gosh.
That was funny. And then obviously, I feel like I saved this one for last because it's just such a fucking classic example. The Eli Lilly and Company.
Oh yeah.
Where they just straight up said like insulin is now free. We're not going to charge for it, or they're putting a set price on it. And basically their fucking stock tanked like a crazy amount. Like, oh my God. I
believe this is where Elon, it was that tweet that got him in trouble.
Well, it pulled the plug because not only that, like people started realizing in a big way that you could lose money, and that's when a lot of people were pulling advertising space away from fucking Twitter.
Yeah.
And ad space is how they make some chunk of their change. So here they are, like with a bunch of people saying like, okay, this is kind of a volatile service. I want to get my stuff out of here.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I was foreshadowing it earlier, but do you know who's a big company just, I think, pulled all their ads off of Twitter?
I do not.
Apple.
Oh yeah.
They pulled it off, and they were threatening the take him off the App Store.
I thought Google was thinking about that as well.
You could put anything on fucking Google. I'm not sure. or maybe not Google's App Store, but the Android App Store. You put anything on there. But I think Apple was talking about taking him off of it, or they were. I don't think it was anything definite, but and then the which I'm wondering is because selling the blue check mark for like $8. They suspended the blue check mark thing and they're revisiting and everything, and they were going to launch it this week, but I think they postponed it some more. My question is it a big reason? I'm wondering if Elon, nothing's been posted about it, but I'm wondering if Elon, because he was a big supporter of the Epic Games versus Fortnite lawsuit, which if anybody doesn't know is that if you're on Apple Store, 30% of whatever you sell goes to Apple. They take the percentage for hosting your game on their store, and they kind of got a conglomerate over it, basically. So they won the lawsuit against Fortnite, where Fortnite wanted to sell V-Bucks for without Apple taking 30%, because Fortnite wants their more money, and they lost. And I know he reposted the video of when Fortnite was going through that. They put out a video to try and get support through the community. I know Elon was all for it, and I'm wondering if something's going to come out in the next couple of days that's like he wants them to back off their 30%, because instead of making that $8, he's making like $5 off of it a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a big cut into profits, and now they're pulling ads. Maybe he's just getting upset, and then they're like, what if they take you off the App Store? And he was like, fuck it, I'll build my own phone.
Yeah,
and fucking party internet didn't laugh, and they were like, yeah, you could do it, Muskie. I believe you. I believe you could do it, Muskie. I believe you could do it. And then everyone else is like, bro, did you see when fucking Zuckerberg and fucking Bill Gates tried to do that shit?
Yeah.
There ain't no fucking more Windows phones out.
You know who I low-key think Travis was a fan of the Windows Phone.
The Windows Phone? Did he have it?
I don't know, but I think we had like a brief discussion. We got to bring Travis in for an episode to have a discussion, because honestly, I feel like he said he liked it. And I don't know, man, there's just a lot of like stuff. There's a lot of techie stuff that we talk about at work, and Travis has like a different opinion, a differing opinion than I would have expected him to have about certain things. And
Man's
it's always
all
something
over the
out
fucking board, I swear.
Yeah, it's out of left field, man. Because I remember, and I thought the conversation was with you, but maybe it wasn't. But like the Windows Phone came up, and he was like, I swear he said, I liked the Windows Phone. And I was kind of like, what? I was like, I don't know, man. It's tough. Like, I even look in hindsight, at the time I had a BlackBerry, and I thought my BlackBerry was like the best thing on earth, and it was far from it. So
well, I mean, at that time, I'm sure it was something special. You know what I mean?
It was.
Phones.
It was when I think it was when they tried to do their full on like touch screen, like an iPhone.
I don't think they had the technology for it at that time, did they?
No.
It was kind of weird.
I mean, it looked cool and everything, but it didn't play out well.
I mean, that's me right now. I keep looking at those like dual screen phones where you flip them open and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it's here to stay, or if it's just like a fad, you know what I mean?
I know. Now they have all the Apple fanatics are speculating. They're like, Apple's going to do a flip phone. And I was like, they're never going to do that. They're never going to do it.
If it gets popular enough. I would laugh
if it gets popular enough,
they're going to have to do catch up now.
But they just cut like production on their newest iPhone, and honestly, it's nothing. I'm growing.
Not enough people ordering it. Basically, they cut production.
Yeah,
because they're like,
I'm growing less and less impressed with what they're like, what they release, because it's the same phone. It's basically the same phone.
Always has been.
Right. You know,
and that's what it is. I never understood the people who upgraded their phone every year to the newest version. I just never got
that.
It.
Never made sense to me.
I know there is upgrades, but there's not a lot like nothing really crazy that like ever really like, oh my god, what the fuck, you know what I mean? It was who the fuck was
nothing
it?
jaw dropping.
Wozniak, who worked for fucking Apple like around
Yep.
Steve Jobs times. They asked him like they don't ask him the question that much anymore because I haven't seen anything about it, but like these asked him like, you gonna get the new iPhone? He's like, no. He's like, there's not much different from the one I have. I think I'll wait a few generations and I'll see what's new the next time. I'm like,
Yep.
you fucking legend. Even the
It's
guy
the
who
way to do
fucking
it.
was there for its like inception and shit like that. It's just kind of like, dude, it's the fucking same phone. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, man. It's not.
I mean, I rode my last phone like
Yeah,
it wasn't even till it was like it could only be wirelessly charged. The head knob had broken. There was like cracks. There was some dents, and I was like just riding it till its death. And I'm like, it's works. Speakers were kind of crappy, but I just kept driving it, and it worked fine for what I needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I did
Absolutely.
upgrade, but that was because with the plan I have, I could get it for free, like actually free, like free.
Free.
So I was like, if it's free, and I remember I looked so long because I was researching things. So like, I kept looking online. I'm like, what's the drawback?
I remember you were vetting that thing out pretty hardcore.
I don't trust free shit.
Yeah, I get you.
I didn't trust it. I was like, but it was like, if you have a certain plan, and I'm on a plan with like a majority of like the family members with Nargiza and stuff like that. So like they're all on a plan and I'm on that. So it's like, it's technically a big phone bill. So it's like, that's why it makes sense that it was free. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was only because I had a neighbor who got it for free.
Yeah.
And I was like, I asked them a bunch of questions of how their phone bill was laid out afterwards. And they like got back to me with it. And I'm like, so it's actually like free. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. But yeah, no, I was sitting there like, I don't trust that. I remember calling them like, so how free is it? And they're like, it's free, sir. And I'm like, yeah, but like added to my monthly bill free. How is that? Like, well, it's going to be this and that and that and this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, but it was free.
If I ever leave having an iPhone, I think I would probably get a Pixel.
Oh, that's a good man. I know one of our night guys has a friend who's a photographer, and he really liked the Pixel just as a phone and also for its camera quality.
Yeah.
Apparently he had a few pictures that he even had on his photography Instagram that were like on his Pixel.
It's wild.
I know I've heard a lot of people say that Pixel camera's crazy. I think my brother has a Pixel.
The shots that I see from those things like blows my mind. I'm like, damn, that's a good camera, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point, we'll wrap the pod. I just figured, it'd be nice to kind of touch back with everybody, get ourselves familiar with the whole swing and the vibe, and then, then we'll dip into some pretty fun topics. I know this one was kind of chill back, but why not?
Trains for fucking.
Yeah. Yeah. We wanted to do an episode talking about Twitter, but guess what? We talked about trains too.
So
don't like
trains.
it. Too bad. Guess what? There's train nerds out there. I'm actually a part of Train Talk.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm dead serious, man.
Actually.
Yeah, I literally follow like 3 dudes who follow trains.
Yeah.
They're very knowledgeable about them.
Speaking about trains, I saw like the I saw a video of like, so after snowfall, a bunch of trees and shit can come down, right?
Yep.
So before all the lines start, they actually put a big fucking heavy tanker train, and that can just speed through them and break up all the fucking it can just run through fucking trees.
That's amazing.
And it's these 2 dudes who are sitting in the cabin and they're recording every time a tree's up there, and this guy they barrel through the fucking trees, and his guy in the passenger seat's like, come on, guy, you're not even trying to swerve for him. It's on rails. It's like, you didn't even try and miss that one. And they just keep fucking smashing trees, just having a fun time, just like running through just big fucking trees on the rail track, just plowing through them. And I'm like, that's actually fun as shit. That'd be a great job.
I think what we're trying to say here is that trains are pretty fucking cool. You know,
If I could get old and wherever I was, just be a train operator, like part time, I feel like that'd be chill.
you know,
Like that, like
you're
in a
not
city
wrong.
would be fine too, I guess. But like if you're out like in the countryside, you're just driving trains. I
Yeah,
feel like
like
that'd be
that,
pretty fun.
like that massive train in Ohio. Remember that thing?
Yeah, that's me
There you go.
trucking it. Me on retirement. I'm taking my time too.